can be quite complicated, but I'll try and explain it. All this information is the official categorization of classic cars by SAVA, which is the South African Veteran and Vintage Association, of which this club is a member, and probably a founder member as well. Okay, the first category is called, I'm going to write it here, there'll be a test afterwards, so I hope you guys all remember. Okay, the first category is called Ancestor. I must admit, there's a new one on me. I didn't even know it existed up until I went and investigated all this. And that's anything built up to December 1904. So that's really your old thing, you know, like a plank with four wheels and a little engine at the back with one cylinder. So that's really the old ones. Call them the old ones. That's why they call them Ancestor. Then after that comes Veteran, which is quite a well-known one. Veteran. That's between January 05, so I'll just write that 05, and 31 December 1918. Okay, up until now, I've always understood Veteran as to start from the year dot right up to the end of 1918. So that's Veteran. Mm-hmm. Okay? The next one is probably the most abused category ever, and that's called Vintage.
One name fits all.
Yeah, that's the one that everybody says, oh no, my car's a vintage. For sale, one vintage car. It's about 1993, great broken down BMW. Okay, and that one is 1/1/19. In other words, the day after Veterans finished, to 31/12/1930. So it goes up to the end of 1930. Okay, that's vintage. Now, the next one, the post-vintage. And that is, they also add a letter after each of these categories. That's A, B, C. Post-vintage you might call as D. And that's 1/1/1931 up to 31/12/1945. That's quite a big one, that one. That's 14 years. Then there's an unofficial category which comes in amongst all this. That's number 4. There's an unofficial one, which I'll call number 5, which is called pre-war. Pre-war. Obviously that is everything up and including post-vintage, but it stops at 1 September 1939, which was the day the war broke out. So that's pre-war. An example of that is this club holds every year holds a memorial rally or run for Jock Leyden, and it's the cutoff there is pre-war. Jock Leyden was a great motoring enthusiast. You can probably remember some of his cartoons.
As well as a great cartoonist, yeah.
Yeah. He always went to Roy Hesketh and drew funny pictures of people.
Okay.
Okay. Then the next one, obviously, is now an official one, is post-war. And that's 1946, 46 to 31/12/1960. Getting closer now. That's post-war. The next one, which I don't think is really that important, but anyway, is post-60. Post-60, and that's obviously 1/1/61 to 31/12/70. And the next one is post-70, which is 1/1/71 to 31/12. Wait a minute. Wait, sorry. You make a mistake there. No. 1/1/71 to whenever. Doesn't matter. Can be up till yesterday, I suppose.
Okay.
All right. So those ones really rather unimportant. They don't really feature. So we've got ancestor, veteran, vintage. Maybe some of us fit into that category. Yeah. Vintage. Those, I think, these two are the important ones in my book. Then you've got post-vintage, which a lot of cars fall into, because they sort of still fairly mobile. You know, you've got your 30s and 40s cars in amongst there. And then, okay, taking all those into account, or into one big group, you can call them pre-war. So it stops sort of there in the middle. I've got handouts for everybody, don't worry about writing it down. And then you've got post-war, 46 to 60. And these dates never change. I know in the UK there's a tax concession on cars. You don't have to pay license fees on cars a certain age. And I believe that year moves.
Okay.
So, you know, if it stops at 1960, next year it'll be 1961 and then 62. But these dates don't change, they never change. And they're not really just arbitrary dates that somebody sucked out of his thumb. They're basically, they try and identify or recognize changes in motor engineering. So they're saying, right, up to 1918, you had a certain type of car. They had that sort of old-fashioned engine and old-fashioned drive and very ropey springs and so on and so forth. And then you've got the vintage with a little bit more comfortable and better engines, etc. So that's how motor engineering developed.
But obviously in reality they overlap.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of overlap.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And then that other much abused term, the classic car.
Okay. Oh, I was hoping nobody would ask me about that. Classic cars, there's as many definitions as you like to think of, but who's screaming?
No.
I think the best definition I can think of is, all right, it probably includes all these. It's probably, a classic is a car that is probably rare and very desirable. So, you know, a 1975 VW Golf is probably not a classic.
Yes.
But a 1975 Ferrari probably is. So you can't put a hard and fast definition on it. But I think desirability is the one thing. Everybody hankers after owning a certain type of car, like a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Maserati or
E-types, MGs,
E-types,
some of the
MGs, all that
Triumphs,
sort of thing.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah.
desirable cars. Therefore, they become classics.
Okay.
Or maybe only a few ever built.
Yes.
Again, that becomes a classic. because their value goes up and then, you know, that sort of thing. Anyway. So there we go, folks. That's it.
Oh, is that it? All right. Well,
Very complicated.
thank you very
So
much.
the same goes for motorbikes, by the way.